Hi, I'm Kelsey, and today I'm doing the Astrology Book Tag. It was originally created by Monica Hay, so I'll link her down below. And I was actually tagged in this one. This is my first time being tagged, so thank you, Monica. Monica and I actually met up like a week or two ago, and because we live in the same city, and we had some delicious vegan breakfast together, and it was a fun time. So yeah, I definitely recommend checking out her channel. Go down there. But basically this tag, I guess you all kind of know like what your astrology sign is. If not, you can just Google it. But like my birthday is March 20th, so I'm considered a Pisces. And so normally your astrology sign has like something, they tell you about yourself. So it's like has to do with your personality or your mood. And so she like took a couple of like the things that are normally said about those astrology signs. Is it astrology or astrological? Anyways, she like took like a little blurb from it, and so to explain which sign you are, and then you're gonna relate that to a book. So you'll see in a second. Okay, so the first sign that she starts with is Aquarius, and so Aquarius is a book that made you think outside the box. So for this one, I chose The City of Ember by Jeanne Dupro. I'm not sure how to say that name, but I pretty much read this when my teacher picked it out as a book to read when I was in, oh god, I feel like it was either 4th grade or 6th grade. It was a long time ago, but this book was great, and it was definitely something that the characters end up having to think outside the box, or out of where they are, if you get what I mean. I think most of you know about this. Most of these books you probably all know about, so I'm not going to do like big plot summary on them. Next is Pisces, my birthday month, March 20th. It's a book that was dreamy and made you feel like you were reading a hug. And I don't know if I'd call this book dreamy, but it definitely reminds me of like my high school state of just thinking about how much boys were cute, and it's just like a nice, light-hearted, heartfelt story, sort of kind of romantic. But anyways, it's The Truth About Forever by Sarah Dessen, and this is the first book that I read by her, and I absolutely love it. I haven't read it in a long time, but every time I think about it, I feel like it's a little bit of a hug to me, just because I enjoyed like all of Sarah Dessen at that time. So yeah, it's just like a warm, comforting, like, I know you. The next one is Aries, and Aries is a book with a courageous main character, and there are hundreds of courageous main characters, so I just picked a popular one because I'm trying to go with books that are actually on my bookshelf. But I went with The Hunger Games by Suzanne Collins, so we all know that Katniss Everdeen is courageous and, volunteers to go into the Hunger Games over her sister, so there you go. So the next one is Taurus, and Taurus is a book that you can always depend on and return to. So for this one, I had to go ahead and go with City of Bones. I'm sure most of you are picking Harry Potter for this one. I still haven't read Harry Potter, so we'll do it this year, I promise. Or at least I'm gonna start at the end of this year. So that will probably become one of my favorites, probably, I'm hoping. But right now, City of Bones is one that I will always come back to. I just love rereading when we meet Simon and Clary and Chase, and yeah. So the next one is Gemini, and Gemini is a book that had two equally interesting sides. Well, the book that I chose is The Host by Stephanie Meyer, and I like this because there are actually like two sides, you know what I mean? So it's the main character, and then she's got like the body of the main character, I guess, and then she's got like this alien, pretty much, that's living inside of her head. So you get like both of their thoughts, pretty much, like fighting as they're fighting over each other. But oh god, I cried in this book, and I loved both of the characters inside the one character. And yeah, it's just overall a good book. I recommend it if you haven't read it. The next one is Cancer, a book that nurtured you in a time of need. And I kind of took this in two different ways, because I can. But I went with, excuse me, I went with The Fault in Our Stars by John Green. And my mom actually passed away from cancer when I was in high school. And so I didn't actually read this when she passed away, but I read it a few years later, and my sister and I just kind of connected over it. And also the fact that the sign is called Cancer, even though that has nothing to do with it. And so book characters just kind of make it feel more human instead of just something that people pass on and don't really talk about. And it's funny and it's humorous, and I love this book. So the next one is Leo, and Leo is a book that felt larger than life. I kind of had a hard time picking out a book for this one for some reason, but I went ahead and went with The Giver by Lois Lowry. And I chose it because in this book, life is like lived a certain way, so they don't really have they don't really feel pain or fear. There's no war, so you would think that okay, maybe that's a good life, but it made me feel larger than life, I guess, because you realize that what is life if you're not really feeling things. The next one is Virgo, and that is a book with a conscientious main character. And this is the one that I almost chose for the two-sided thing. But I went with Steppenwolf by Hermann Hesse. This is a fantastic book. A main character finds a manuscript basically about this guy, so kind of like how The Great Gatsby works. But I'm talking about the guy in the manuscript. So he's considered a step of the wolves, I guess. So he's got kind of two sides to him. He finds himself as being part this wolfish animal, and he finds the nature side of him, and just a more ferocious and harder living person, I guess. And then he finds the other side to him that enjoys things like poetry and jazz, and he can't figure out which side he should be feeling. He's constantly combating both sides of himself. So he's just so conscientious. He's so aware of himself and how he has multiple sides to him, and how it really is to be human and have all of that in you. Number 9 is Libra, and that is a book that charmed your socks off. I kind of went with something different for this one. It's kind of a cheat, but it's Elbert Hubbard's scrapbook, and I found this in the thrift store. And this book it's not technically a book. It's Elbert Hubbard basically is just a man who picked out a bunch of quotes and just poetry and beautiful writing pieces from hundreds of different people around the world, and just different poets and artists and things like that, and compiled it into his own little scrapbook. There are more of these, you can go buy this. It's not one random person per se. But yeah, it's very charming, and just everything in here it's just all very beautiful. So number 10 is a book that made you want to improve yourself. And I actually don't have this book because I lost it a couple days ago. But that is Wonder by R.J. Palacio. I think there's a lot of books that make me want to improve myself, but that's the most recent book I've read that I'm thinking about. Just because it's all about just being kind and thinking about other people who are kind of just struggling. And so I just want to be more kind and considerate, and it just made me want to be more aware of the people around me. Number 11 is Sagittarius. I don't know if I said this, but number 2 was Scorpio. Number 11 is Sagittarius, and that is a book that made you feel optimistic about life. So for this one, I'm choosing Where Things Come Back by John Corey Whaley, and I laughed and I cried and I cried in this book. It's such a good book, and it was a plot twist also that I didn't see coming, so I really enjoyed that. But yeah, the ending was pretty satisfying to me, and it definitely made me feel optimistic about life. And then lastly, we have Capricorn, and that is a book with a steady and ambitious story arc. I guess it's considered steady at first, but it's a very ambitious story arc, and it turned out spectacular. But that is Gone Girl by Gillian Flynn. Great book, great movie, overall just great. I absolutely love this book. Did not see the twist coming. Yeah, the story arc was performed perfectly. One of the first adult fiction books that I have read, and I actually just picked up Sharp Objects today. I got it at Goodwill for $2. But anyways, that is it for the Astrology Book Tag. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you again, Monica, for tagging me. I'll go ahead and tag a couple people down below in the video, but please feel free to tag yourself. I don't know too many people yet. And also introduce yourself in the comments so that we can know each other, because I'm really finding BookTube to be a place where I want to connect with a bunch of other readers and writers. So I really appreciate you sticking around.